Okay, so tell us your name and what you do in your community.
I'm Claire Seidenglanz, Mrs. Petite USA, and a lot of my community work goes beyond my community at this point. But I started a charitable initiative called the Tiny Warrior Project, and it's basically just bringing care packages to NICU families like mine. So I have two girls, Blake and Shelby, and Shelby is my youngest. She's my little Spitfire. She's wild. But when she was just 6 days old, she stopped breathing and she ended up in the neonatal intensive care unit or NICU. And by the grace of God, she made a full recovery. But after that time, I really knew I'm like, I need to make a difference in the lives of NICU families like mine and make sure that they know that they have a support system outside of, the hospital. And so I started making care packages, and it was a local initiative at first, just in my local area and delivering them to hospitals locally. And that quickly grew into a statewide initiative in the state of California, where I'm from. And then as Mrs. Petite USA, I've been able to take this initiative nationally. And, the Tiny Warrior Project is now active in almost a dozen states. And I've been able to bring care packages and mental health resources to NICU families, hundreds of NICU families across the nation. And I'm expanding globally now with Tiny Warriors Worldwide, which is a weekly series where I discuss NICU realities and statistics internationally. And I just educate on the realities of how common this is. And it's really my heart's work. I love doing it. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And I'm just really blessed to be in this position to take it beyond my, finite community here and really expand it to such a platform that I've been able to.
My next question was what inspired you to begin this work, but kind of we already touched up on it. So we might just skip that question just because it was already part of your answer, which I love.
I know, I get kind of long-winded there. I get excited to talk about it. I'm like, let's go.
Let's go. I love it. Okay, so then what does being a woman of impact mean to you?
Mm-hmm. I mean, really just making day-to-day changes. Everyone thinks, being a woman of impact, I have to do something grand or some huge, huge change in my community. And all of that starts with a tiny act, a small, singular act. So being a woman of impact begins with a small change or a small moment where you decide that you're going to make a difference. For me, that was when I decided I need to bring, I just thought, I'll make 10 care packages, right? For families, 10 families in Santa Clarita, where I'm from. And that tiny or small moment for me became something so much bigger and became my impact. And that's how I became a woman of impact, is through the small acts that add up every single day. So, I feel like women nowadays, you think, I have to do so much. I have to make this huge change. And it's really important just to remember, just start small. Just do something that your heart is pulling you towards, even if you think it might be tiny. And, it really adds up and makes a difference in the lives of people, that butterfly effect that happens.
Oh, yeah. This petite size.
Exactly.
The petite size act. So then who is a woman that shaped or influenced you in any way?
My mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law. I'm blessed to have really good in-laws. I met my husband when I was 19, so I was still kind of growing up at that point, as any 19-year-old is. And she was so just like loving and accommodating. She always wanted a girl, but she was blessed with her boys. But she always she's such a girl mom. She always wanted a girl. So when I came around, she and I just clicked, and she became just like my second mom. And she's the most generous, like thoughtful, selfless woman. And I really look up to her in the way that I look up to a mom, right? And I'm so blessed to have her in my life and my girl's life, and just her being a role model. And she's faced so many hardships in her life. It's kind of devastating. And she's still just such a light. And she really inspires me in that way to push through those moments of difficulty and not let them affect or dim that, the part of you that sees the good in the world and that approaches every day with happiness and gratitude, because she's really good at that. And just pushing myself to be more generous than, maybe I would initially be or think to be, and just giving and pouring into those around me as much as I possibly can is very much inspired by her, because she is so that way. And she just does it so innately. It's just part of her being. And she really pushes me to be just a better woman. I just love her.
Okay, so what challenge have you overcome that's made you stronger, other than our babies being a NICU baby?
Yeah. About like 10 or 10-ish years ago, a little less than 10, a little more than 10 years ago at this point, I left, I was at UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara. I was studying biology. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and I had honestly just like an identity crisis. And I was only 19 or 18 at the time. So I was super young. I didn't know what I was doing. And all of a sudden, I had planned, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be in the medical fields. This is what I want. And I'd planned that for so long. Like my entire high school career was really building up to that. And I got to college and I realized, oh, I don't want to do this. And it really was a moment for me where I had to completely reevaluate who I was and what I thought my future was going to look like and who I wanted to be. And I was escaping an abusive relationship at the time as well. So it all came to kind of a culmination a few months before I met my now husband. And he really saw me through the darkest times of that period of regrowth and rebirth. And I love him so much, even more for it. I'm like, you met me at my absolute worst and you loved me then. And so I'm like, you can love me at all stages. And it took a lot of really hard work and grit. At the time I had, I had gained like 50 pounds at the time, which when you're 4'11" and 100 pounds, that's a lot. And so, I really started to reinvest in myself, and I signed up for a gym class through the local community college because I figured if it's graded, I'm going to have to go to the gym because I know that I'm getting a grade on it. And that really was like the start of me reinvesting in myself and deciding who I was. And I lost 45 pounds. I got a new job. I started at a new college. I ended up getting my undergrad in education and my postgrad for a teaching credential, for multiple subject teaching credential. And it really was a scary time of my life because you feel like you're floating. And what am I doing? Who am I? And it's a lot to be asking yourself at 18 years old. And facing also getting out of an abusive relationship where you felt like so worthless leaving it. And it was scary, but it really forced me to face a lot of the questions that a lot of people face when they're older. And I think it's given me kind of an old soul in that way because I feel like I matured quickly at a young age because of it. And it's left me with a really acute awareness of who I am and my purpose in life. And that has been just refueled by becoming a mother and a wife and just reaffirming the why of to who I am and what I want to be. And now, we're 10 years post that period of my life. And I feel I'm grateful for it now. At the time, of course, you're like, why am I dealing with all of this and going through all of this? And this is scary. But now I look back on it with a lot of gratitude. And honestly, I'm really impressed with myself at 18 and being so young and facing all of that and being able to do that and pull myself from the ground up. And it's really given me a lot of understanding of like my intrinsic strength that I can do those things and make those hard choices and come out stronger because of it.
And I mean, now look at you, you're Mrs. USA Petite. I mean,
that's what I tell my husband. I'm like, honey,
the world here.
Honey, the glow up, babe.
So what do you hope your legacy will be?
Mm-hmm. A legacy of impact. If nothing else, I hope people look at me and see like she made a difference with something that really mattered to her heart. And I can too. And I don't have to be, I got into pageantry as someone only a few years ago, as someone who had no prior history with pageantry. And I saw it as a way to develop my platform and spread the Tiny Warrior Project to a larger audience. And, it was intimidating at first because the whole world that I was not used to or had knowledge of. And I hope that people see, that growth and see themselves in me. And that, if there's something that really pulls and calls to their heart that they want to make a change or a difference in, and they can. And, don't be afraid to jump in because you can really make an impact. And so I hope that I leave behind a legacy of impact for families that need it most.
Okay. So what advice would you give to young girls watching you today?
Mm-hmm. Just be authentic to yourself. And it's really hard. I've only really come into this since, I mean, I'm only 31, but I feel like 30 was really a
Yeah.
turning point for me
Same.
where I felt so comfortable in being just who I was. And it's a really hard thing to do. And, you know, of course, you fear judgment and whatnot. But when you're able to really just live authentically to who you are and what motivates you, and you're not concerned about what other people think of you, it's so freeing.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, you could tell younger girls that. Of course, it comes with age and experience. But if I could just impress upon younger girls how liberating it is when you stop worrying about what everyone is thinking of you and how what they think of you and they're judging you, and just live authentically to who you are and what makes you happy is so important. I mean, at the end of the day, you get one life, right? This is not a dress rehearsal. So live it how you want to live it, because we don't get a do-over. We don't get a second chance. You know, when I started pageantry, I was so nervous about what everyone was going to think about me and whatnot. And I'm like, no, this is what makes me happy. This is what gives me purpose and meaning. And I want to do this. And since I accepted, you know, that part of my life and whatnot, and just come into my own in that way, it's just like, it's like you could breathe. It's like you take this exhale of like, I can live as me.
You found
And
your inner self again.
yes, exactly. And so just, it's difficult, but live authentically to who you are. Because you don't, like I said, it's not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a do-over. So you want to really leave this time on earth knowing and feeling like I lived how I wanted to, and I lived authentically to who I was. And I think with that comes ultimate peace.
So what's something people might not know about you then? Give us a little fun fact that's just like, hey, I didn't.
My go-to fun fact, literally for forever, has always been that I'm an identical twin. And I feel like a lot of people know that now because I talk about it a lot. But
Yeah.
particularly like when I was starting a new job and whatnot in my 20s, and my twin was not, right? Because like in school, everyone knew we were the twins, right? But then
Yeah.
when you leave school and you start professional life, it's not something that you lead with. Like, hi, I'm Claire. This is my resume, and I am an identical twin. And so it was always so funny whenever I would tell people, and they'd be like, what? There's two of you? I'm like, yes, there are. And we're identical. People always ask, are you identical or fraternal? We're identical, although we have very different personalities and styles. So when people meet us, they're always like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm sure we are identical. We just have become our own individuals, which is great. But she's my best friend. She was actually here last night helping me with my universal wardrobe because I was behind, and I'm like, I need reinforcements. Help me. So she came over and was bedazzling my eagle beak for my eagle costume.
To see that.
I'll send you a picture. It's really cool. And yeah, she's my best friend. So that's always my go-to fun fact is like, I'm an identical twin. No, we can't read each other's minds. 8 of 10 of our fingerprints match. And she's my best friend for life. I told my husband when I met him, I'm like, look, I don't want to tell you this, but you're always going to be second to my twin, because if I have a soulmate, it's her. And her husband knows the same, right? He's like, okay, yeah, we know we're secondary. I'm like, I love you, but my twin's always going to be my ride or die.
Okay, then when do you feel most confident or empowered?
When I'm with my family. And I've thought about that. I've thought about why, right? Like, why do I feel the most confident in myself with them? And it's because I'm being authentic to myself, as we were talking about earlier about authenticity and living authentically. I feel the most me with them, and therefore I'm the most empowered and confident because I'm the most myself. And so I try to remember that when I enter a room where maybe I feel uncomfortable, is like, just be yourself, and then you'll be the most confident because you're just living truly to who you are. And I'm lucky to have a really supportive, big, wonderful family. And they've really just pushed me and encouraged me to be the most me. And I love them for that. And I just, yeah, I love being with my family. They're the best.
I always feel like the Petite family is your family. So I try not to get too uncomfortable walking into things because they just want you to be you.
Yeah.
So
truly. They don't just say that. Like, truly, like, that's really what they want. Yep.
Okay. My last question for you is to finish this sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Women's history is being written when?
Every day. Like I said, it's the little things, the little changes that you think may be inconsequential or not enough. when you really commit to those little things every single day, you're making history, right? I never thought when I started the Tiny Warrior Project that it would even be the Tiny Warrior Project. It was just care packages for a hospital, right, in my local area.
Yeah.
And it's now become the Tiny Warrior Project, and it's active in almost 12 states, and I'm working internationally now. And you could say that's women's history, right? That's something
Absolutely.
that I've left in this world better than I found it. And it was just a little act every single day. So women's history is being written every single day.